Hi everyone. Welcome back to another episode of On the Boundary. And Kochar, I believe this is our first episode for the year. We've been quiet for quite some time. How are you, by the way?
I'm good, Proteas. Maybe not a whole year. I know it's felt that long. I think we did one to get ready for Champions Trophy. So it's
Oh,
been, let's say, a month and a half or something like that. But yes, we've been gone for a while.
yeah, no, it feels like a very long time to me. I don't know why. I think it's been a year, but yeah. Before we even get into the topic for the day, what's the one thing cricket related that has been on your mind lately? It shouldn't be something that we are planning to talk about. Just anything that has been on your mind that is cricket related.
Apart from the amount of rain that has been stopping me from playing every time I get a gap in between my adulting, get my kid ready and everything, Pretoria decides to rain. So apart from that, honestly, and getting over what happened to the Proteas, it's been quiet on my side. Uh, haven't been able to go to the grounds to coach or watch any cricket for a while. So it's been quiet on my side.
And I don't know what's wrong with this year, bruh. That side there's been more rain than I don't know how I've seen in such a long time. I've never seen Bumalang and even Pretoria to some extent rain so much early in the year. But yeah, I think from my side also that there isn't much, man. I've also haven't been able to play much cricket. Actually, I'm lying when I say much cricket. I haven't played a single game of cricket so far, which is it's something new for me. For me to not play a single game of cricket, and already we're almost at the end of the season. But I'm actually hoping to try and get a match in this weekend. Just roll my arm over a bit and see how it goes. But yeah, today we're basically going to be talking about two things, Coach Ara. The SA20 schools and the Champions Trophy. But I want us to start with the SA20 schools. We are not going to go deep into the tournament. We're just basically touching on it. It is a replacement of the Coca-Cola schools, if you remember the T20 tournament. But I think for me the biggest thing is the inclusivity of the current tournament. Because if you remember the T20, the Coca-Cola T20 tournament was more for the so-called elite schools, and it didn't have a section for the women, for the girls, I mean. But with the SA20 schools, we saw them involving schools from even the rural areas, getting a chance to compete and getting a chance to try and push for a spot in the finals. And we saw hubs getting involved as well, and we saw the girls getting involved. So, Kochi, what are your thoughts on the whole tournament? And is there a moment that stood out for you? It could be with the gents, could be with the girls. It doesn't really matter, even if it's across both sections.
Uh, honestly, from start from like the start, this tournament has been going on for, as you say, it's a replacement of a tournament that's been going on for a while now. I think I might reveal my age when I say my high school first team nearly joined this tournament in around the inception time. So back then when it was really starting off, kicking off. So to see it grow so much, get on TV, get the backing of SA20, because now it's like partnering the SA20 franchise and the SA20 league that we have. And I think that's very positive for it because it gets the backing of Graham Smith's people and the financial muscle that comes with that side of the game. So very positive. As you said, now there's a whole women's or girls, in this case, girls section of the tournament, which I feel is the biggest positive in this thing, because we've been crying for the growth of ladies cricket, and I feel this is a step in the right direction. And saying that, you asked me for the moment of the tournament. For me, I didn't get to catch as much as I would have liked, uh, on all honesty, but we still followed it. And there's that special girl. I think I mentioned her after that T20 World Cup for the ladies. There's one name I would like as close as possible to the squad. And that was before I saw how special she was. I thought she was special, but I think she's a little even more special than I thought she was. That 100 in the final from Karabo was just out of this world, and the way she did it as well, because the commentators throughout her innings kept on mentioning, like, when you've been at a step above, because she's played SA under 19, she's even played a game or two for the international team, and when you go back down, the gap must be visible. And the way she structured her innings, the way she paced that innings from start, because it never looked like she was going to score 100. Honestly, it looked like she was just going to score pretty 70 or pretty 60 odd, but not out even. Not that she was going to get out, but because she never looked like getting out. But the way she changed gears and just went into overdrive there for the final 3, 4 overs to get over the line and to get to that 100 showed the levels to it, because she's honestly 2, 3, maybe even 4 levels above most of the girls that are playing there. Not to say that the talent there is not up to standard. She's just been exposed a little bit more than them already. So yes, same age group, but it feels like it was ladies against girls when she was batting out there.
Oh, yeah, no, spot on, Coachy. I only got to watch the highlights of that innings. Unfortunately, the app crashed while the before that game played, but I was fortunate enough to see the final, the gents final, and must say it was entertaining. Enjoyed watching it. Also, but for me, I think my favorite game of the tournament was St. David's against Bishops before the final. I think it was the game that St. David's had qualified, but Bishops needed to qualify. And the one moment that I that sort of stuck in my head is watching Kyle Butler and Adnan Lahadin in the first game. Adnan tore Kyle Butler apart. It came to the final, and you could see there was competition between the two of them. And Kyle came out tops in a very massive game, even though they didn't win it, the final. But it was very entertaining. Witnessed a lot of talent there. The Monarchs, your Kyle Butler, your Adnan, your Wako Pisak, Basic, or your the leg spinner from Bishops. And I think for me, it's a massive tournament. It's a massive thing to have. You had a school from the rurals of Umtata, I mean, Inomandi in the girls section. I was lucky enough to go watch them play the regional playoffs in East London, and those girls can play. Some of them already play for Kai Cricket Senior Provincial Women, and you can see there's a lot of talent there. So my hope is we can see SA20 invest a bit of money in women's cricket for universities. And hopefully, I know this is a bit of a selfish one, but it would be nice to have a women's tournament, a university women's tournament. I see a lot of the universities now have women's teams, which is great to see. Tats just won, I think they won the league, if not the T20 tournament. Mati's also won something. UW's also won something. So hopefully, me and my team can also clinch something for ourselves. um, Champions Trophy, coach. That's all I'm gonna say. Champions Trophy. Champions Trophy.
Uh, I feel like we've in a strange way it I won't say it didn't hurt as much as it, because it still hurts. It always hurts, especially for us Protea fans. But the speed of the tournament and how quickly we got in and how quickly we got out and had our winner, I think it allows us to console ourselves in quickly and get over it. But I just want to mention something that I felt might have been like a highlight, not a highlight, but a major point throughout the tournament. And that was India playing a tournament in Pakistan, outside of Pakistan.
I
I
was
feel
I was actually going to ask us to start with a bit of controversy before we start talking about the pictures. I am very happy that you actually started that. Yeah, no, I think that's something to talk about. We can definitely start with that. You can carry on, coaching.
before we even speak about the advantages and the disadvantages and who what that meant for India, I feel like it sort of uh, nearly made it like impossible for them to lose. Not in a negative way for India, but it put more pressure on them because going into the tournament, even if it was played on Mars or here in South Africa or somewhere else, I feel India were always the favorites to play and win that tournament. So now when you give them even more of an advantage, make them play in one venue throughout the tournament, stay in one hotel throughout the tournament, you make it, you put even more pressure on them. Losing that tournament would have seemed a little disastrous for India after everything had been put in the palm of their hands. And I feel, yes, we would have liked the tournament to be played in the same place, but I feel that really put extra need for India to win that thing because they were always the favorite. Going into the tournament, I had them as out and out favorites. I had New Zealand and South Africa close second, not close, but close to each other as the second as the second place favorites going into that tournament. Especially after injuries happened to the Australian team, England are all over the place. Pakistan could surprise, but also they weren't looking good going to the tournament. So the two teams we felt could surprise India was South Africa and New Zealand. Sort of turned out that way because those are the teams that went into the semifinals and had a chance to. But as I said, it was always for India to lose.
Yeah, no, I get where you're coming from, Coachy, and I think I agree to some extent. But I think for them the positives were much more than the pressure that they had. That everything is all the odds are stacked in your favor. I think it's sort of as much as it brought a bit of pressure on them to say you need to win, but it also gave them that bit of comfort to say, you know what, we are in a far better position than everyone else. So as much as we've got so much pressure to win the tournament, the other guys also have so much pressure to try and first catch up with us before they can sort of go past us in the tournament. So for me, I feel it was definitely unfair. I know people like Rohit Sharma, they try to justify saying no. But the fact of the matter is, it's like having an ODI match where one team bowls with one ball and the other team bowls with two balls. There's no denying that one team is going to have a better advantage than the other. It's there's no way we can run away from it. We know conditions play a massive part in cricket. They play a massive part in terms of picking your team. For example, for the Proteas, you're coming from SA, you're going to Pakistan, you're going to be playing in for example, let's say three different conditions or pitches and fields. You need to pick a team, a squad. Remember, you've got a limited number of players you can have in your squad. So you need to pick a squad that is going to be able to balance out in terms of the different conditions you're going to play in. But for India, they only had to pick a squad for one field, one pitch, even though it wasn't necessarily going to stay the same, but also it doesn't change that much. All the strips on that field, you know them, you just pick a team based on that. So other teams have had to travel. Traveling is not easy, especially during a tournament in a country where a lot of people follow cricket. Traveling can't be easy. So for them, it was just smooth sailing. Like it was sort of when you have to write an exam, but your lecturer supported you so much that you are heading into that exam without having that idea of there might be a question that I won't have an answer. You know that whatever question that comes up there, you're going to have an answer. The only thing you might struggle with is remembering the answer. So for me, I felt like for India, it was, gents, all the odds are stacked in your favor. The only thing you guys need to do is just show up. While the other guys, you get to the field, you need to negotiate in terms of the pitch conditions. You need to try and assess and adapt as quick as you can. But for India, after the first game, they hardly needed to adapt to anything. So I don't know, Kochi, but going forward, how do you think the ICC can avoid such a situation?
In this case, before I even answer that, I just want to be clear that I wasn't saying that the advantages were outweighing anything. They were the team that needed to win that thing from scratch. The only team that could pick was it 4 or 5 spinners because they knew they were going to be playing in Dubai the whole time. So the rest of the team had to balance two spinners here, spinner and people like Glenn Phillips being out and out spinners for New Zealand because of the having to play in Dubai some of the games. But India went in there. The squad was picked for that same or one venue. It was like they were picking a match 11, but could play it 3, 4, 5 times in a row because they were playing at the same venue throughout. So big advantage to them. Uh, Going forward, I feel like this one was an easy fix. I do not understand how you can take the whole tournament to Pakistan, unfortunately, because of their relationship with India and India not willing to play there. So it's sad for Pakistan, who have tried their best to recover in world cricket and getting games back home, back to Pakistan. But having that tournament in Pakistan was the first wrong decision, especially knowing how desperately we need India. I'll keep saying that we as ICC need India and need the money and that comes along with India. So we can't talk too badly about the BCCI and not wanting to go to Pakistan. If they don't want, they could have stayed at home and we wouldn't have even had a tournament. And because of the financial struggle that would have been to host a tournament without India. So easy fix, no tournament where India doesn't want to play for now. That's where we should go. If India doesn't want to play in Pakistan, we can't have a tournament in Pakistan, especially one that needs India to be there. If we're having a tri-series between South Africa, Zimbabwe, and Pakistan, perfect. Australia, England, and Pakistan, still fine. But once we need India in the tournament, we can't have it in Pakistan at the moment.
And then what happens, Kochi, if we say India's hosting and then Pakistan suddenly say we will also not go to India. I know India have the upper hand in terms of financial and their influence, but now I find myself asking myself this question: would ICC actually make arrangements for Pakistan to play somewhere else when India is hosting the tournament? Because as much as we understand that there's if we're saying we're allowing India to play in Dubai when Pakistan is hosting, then we need to say Pakistan also needs to be given a venue to play at when India is hosting. I know in reality it's probably not possible. Pakistan doesn't have the financial muscle that India has, but I'm just playing devil's advocate and asking what would we then do in a situation like that?
It's honestly right now the situation cricket in is very sad. There's India
Yeah.
out and out above everyone, and they own cricket. And then they've got their two friends below them in Australia and England who get most of the handouts. And then the rest of us have to fight over whatever falls through the hands of England and Australia. So what you're saying is true and is sad, but the reality is if Pakistan wouldn't want to go to India, they'd be either forced to go or wouldn't go to the tournament and nobody would bat an eyelid. It would be what it is. That would be what it is, and we wouldn't really have Pakistan as a problem going into a tournament in India. They'd either just play in India or not play the tournament, and the tournament would go on because they are not India. And simple as that as at the moment. Sad reality for cricket, but yes.